Armed Forces Chief Eduardo Año says the military was ordered to downplay the presence of ISIS in the Philippines as part of its psychological operations in its war on terror. Año said this in his affidavit quoted by Solicitor General Jose Calida in a memorandum submitted to the Supreme Court Monday. He said, quote, "This is so as not to give them recognition and fan the flames of rebellion." The AFP chief was referring to the repeated statements of AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Marine Colonel Edgar Arevalo on May 24 that the military was in full control of the situation of the siege in Marwi City. Arevalo also said, quote, "The armed men we are dealing with are not ISIS, but members of a local terrorist group." But after May 24, the military would admit the ISIS links of the Maute terror group. This would become the main defense of the government for the sufficient factual basis of President Rodrigo Duterte's declaration of martial law in Mindanao. Año also said the statements downplaying ISIS's presence in the country were made to encourage foreign investments and maintain confidence in the Philippine economy. Calida says this is a part of the military's psychological operations in its war against terrorists to mislead, intimidate, demoralize, or otherwise influence the thinking or behavior of an opponent. He adds, Arevalo's statements quoted by news reports and used by petitioners against the government are not valid because they were just part of the so-called Psy-War. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre says he has nothing to do with his department's resolution downgrading the charges against policemen involved in the killing of Albuera Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr. The DOJ earlier downgraded the charges against the cops from murder to homicide. Aguirre says, quote, "I was not the one who wrote it. I was not the one who signed it." He also denies having any hand in the drafting of the resolution. The DOJ resolution that downgraded the charges was signed by Justice Undersecretary Reynante Orseo on June 2. Senators denounced the DOJ for the move, which contradicts the Senate probe's findings that the cops should be charged with murder. After the downgrade, former Criminal Investigation and Detection Group Region 8 Chief Marvin Marcos and his 18 co-accused walked free after posting bail on June 16. The Court of Appeals is asking the House of Representatives to reconsider its show cause order issued Tuesday to CA justices. Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno and CA Presiding Justice Andres Reyes, in a joint statement Wednesday, say, quote, "It is our hope that the House of Representatives reconsider its order and that it instead avail of all legal remedies that are provided to it under the Constitution, the law, and the rules of court." The House is asking CA justices to explain why they should not be held in contempt for ordering the release of Ilocos Norte officials. The House detained 6 Ilocos Norte officials accused of being uncooperative in a probe into the province's alleged misuse of tobacco funds amounting to 66.45 million pesos. House Speaker Alvarez earlier called the 3 CA justices who ordered the release of the Ilocos Norte officials idiots. He also threatened to pass a law that would abolish the appellate court. Sereno and Andres say, quote, "We note that the House of Representatives is not without any speedy legal remedy that is consistent with the separation of powers should it disagree with the action of the Court of Appeals, such as an appeal." Sereno and Reyes add that they have deep concerns over the show cause order because of its implications on separation of power and judicial independence. Uber co-founder Travis Kalanick steps down as chief executive officer of the pioneering ride-hailing service as the company reels from legal woes and controversies over its company culture. A New York Times report says Kalanick's resignation on Tuesday was triggered by pressure from the company's top investors. The investors made the demand to Kalanick in a letter entitled "Moving Uber Forward," which said the company must have a leadership change and that he leave. Kalanick says, quote, "I have accepted the investors' request to step aside so that Uber can go back to building rather than be distracted with another fight." He will still remain part of the company's board of directors. Kalanick earlier announced he will be taking an indefinite leave of absence. Uber is the world's richest venture-backed startup valued at $68 billion. Belgian soldiers shoot a terror suspect after an explosion rocked the central train station in Brussels Tuesday in the latest attack to hit Europe. Witnesses say the suspect shouted "Allahu Akbar" or "God is greatest" before triggering the blast, with local media saying the individual activated an explosive belt. No casualties are reported. Belgian authorities say the attack could have been much worse because the big explosion did not happen. The blast in Belgium comes after a man mowed down Muslims near a mosque in London, and a radical Islamist on a terror watch list rammed a car laden with weapons into a police vehicle in Paris. Brussels has been on high alert since suicide bombers struck the city's airport and metro in March 2016, killing 32 people and injuring hundreds more. ISIS claims the attacks.
The AFP said the BIFF bandits were able to return to the Malagakit Elementary School. 31 of their hostages have regained their freedom. For the latest update on the Kalagayan incident, here is Marita Muahe live. Marita?
The police and the military have rescued trapped residents who were earlier held hostage in Barangay Malagakit, North Cotabato, which was attacked by the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, or the BIFF, around 5 this morning. They are now here at the Kalagayan National High School, which serves as the evacuation center. According to Mr. Isidro Quitor, school principal, there are now a total of 303 evacuees. 272 are staying here at the National High School, while 31 are at the DGEM Mindanao College. Meanwhile, 31 hostages have been rescued by the military, and they are now undergoing stress debriefing. Fleeing residents reported that they saw one dead civilian on the street and one dead kafgu whose body cannot be recovered because it has a bomb allegedly wrapped on its body. In an interview, Kalagayan mayor said that the conflict is now contained, although the military are still on the ground. The motive for the attack is yet to be determined, though. That's the latest update from Kalagayan, North Cotabato. For the nation, Marita Muahe.
The jolting bomb blasts and artillery strikes from above, staccato gunfire from high-caliber assault rifles, and scattered plumes of smoke all about are very much the same visible and audible fare in Marwi City as the siege enters its second month. Behind the scenes and unseen, scores of helpless and hungry city residents are still holed up in homes, wishing to escape at the slightest chance, security growing even tighter around the city perimeter, and hundreds of homes being locked tight and shut by roving soldiers to thwart looting. In this report filed by PTV's correspondent on assignment, Julius de Samburon.
Military surgical airstrikes still pursued earlier today. Continuous firefight and bomb dropping were witnessed in the 4 barangays occupied by the terrorists. According to the Joint Task Force Marwi, EOD personnel and specialists have joined and led the clearing operations in the ground zero.
I-check yung bahay, titignan yung mga rooms, yung floors, and other space ng bahay na pwedeng may mga binabanggit ko kanina, may mga bomba, mga war materials.
JTF Marwi added that the number of multi-forces is now dwindling. With the help of municipal mayors, situations in each town of the province are being closely monitored. Heightened security checkpoints are visible in strategic points coming in and going out of Marwi City. Operation Padlock was also launched to protect houses left behind by the evacuated residents, where more than 300 homes were padlocked to prevent looting.
Ang Human Rights Desk po ay available po sila dito kasi ito pong Provincial Crisis Management Committee. Dito po yung Operation Center, lahat po ng aspeto na pwede nating tulungan ang ating mga residente na nasa lantain, nandito lahat, legal, mga provision na kailangan nila, andito po lahat. So ang gusto lang po natin may parating sa ating mga kababayan ay coordinate na po sila sa atin dito.
Soldiers are being trained to be capable of pointing out the difference between an ordinary civilian and an enemy just by observing his or her behavior. Stray bullets from the front lines are also being monitored around the city as soldiers aim for the liberation of Marwi.
Ayaw po namin maglagay ng sinasabing deadline. Ginagawa po namin ng maayos, swift, deliberate po yung operations namin para ingatan din po namin yung mga sundalo namin from the IED at sa mga bomba po na nilalagay nila sa mga bahay at building.
2 engineering battalions of the armed forces are currently preparing for the rehabilitation of Marwi City, which will be immediately done once the siege has been totally foiled. Aside from this, the Department of Public Works and Highways also expressed its commitment on the reconstruction of damaged public infrastructure. Meanwhile, after President Rodrigo Roa Duterte apologized,
very sorry na nangyari ito sa atin. Sana kung madaling panahon, you will find in your heart to forgive my soldiers, ang gobyerno, pati ako for declaring martial law. Wala akong choice eh. Sinisira na ang Marwi. I have to drive them out. But I am very sorry. Pakiabot na lang doon sa mga kapatid nating mga Maranao na ang aking paghinakit rin sa nangyari na ito. Patawarin ninyo po kami.
The people of Maranao accepted the chief executive's apology. In a statement issued by the crisis committee, our Muslim brothers and sisters expressed how they understand the president's stern action against the ISIS-linked local militant group, which has already severely affected the lives of civilians and damaged their properties. They also prayed for guidance as the chief executive committed to prioritize the delivery of services, reconstruction and rehabilitation, as well as assistance for a better Marwi City and Lanao del Sur. For the Nation, Julius Desambron, Marwi City.